Hello and welcome back to us back to Pop and Scott Talk Baseball. It's been a couple of weeks. I've had computer issues, and also my nephew, my dad's grandson, gets married, and I spent time. Me and Dad had face-to-face time last weekend, so we didn't put a camera in front of us for that one, but. Uh, and also I had a last Sunday I spent with my mother for a week. You know, Mother's Day is just a thing on the calendar, so we just did Mother's Day last Sunday. So, how's everything going for you this week, Dad?
No, it's going pretty good. Your stepmom's blood pressure is better than it was. She's had one issue where it was really high the other night, but she takes that little pill and it gets it back under control. But other than that, um, it's just same old, same old. Right now, the weather's beautiful,
Right.
80 some degrees.
Yeah, it's no humidity. I left work today. It was really, really nice and happy about it. Like I said, working some overtime for vacation. Me and Dad were talking before, so but yeah, in the baseball world, I mean, there's been some things happening, but it's pretty much status quo. It's nothing ridiculous other than a lot of runs being scored. Not every night, but more consistently. They're well on pace to break records this year for runs scored. But I still, and I want to also, there is home runs being hit, but they're not being like it's been in years past where crazy amount. There's a few guys that are really hitting, but it's the same guys. It's not crazy like it's been before with launch angles and all that, and everybody swings from the heels, all three strikes. We're going to continue to see that, but we have seen some dominant pitching as well on the other side of things. And I keep talking about how well defenses are. And I think that's what's brought on that launch angle, because you hit the ball in the field, it's pretty hard to get it down for a base hit. And so what do you have for us today?
Well, a couple of Wednesdays ago in May, second Wednesday in May, they set an attendance record for a Wednesday either in May or April, 501,596, the most ever. The TV ratings in almost all the localities are up. There are more people watching baseball. I've been watching some of the super regional softball tournament, NCAA softball tournament. UCLA is playing in South Carolina. They're playing the deciding game today. The first game was Friday. They put the tickets up for sale a week ago, and they sold out in 8 minutes. Almost all of the softball is sold out.
Yeah, and we're baseball, but this is something that is curious. Me and my friends have talked about it. People outside of the world that know that I like WNBA. I mean, this could be contributed to the success of the WNBA. I would think, like all women's sports, I think you're getting a lift from what's going on.
Yeah, well, one ocean raises all boats. I mean, high tide raises all boats. So
right. Yeah.
And the WNBA has already set records for attendance the first week. It's been, but there's been a few things happened. Not all good, but the Phillies, who are rolling, they've won about 9 in a row.
Schwarber's
going crazy. But, but they've lost their closer, Jose Alvarado, for 80 games for substance abuse. For performance-enhancing substance.
And here's my question with that. So let's stop right there. Let's detour, and hopefully nobody takes this the wrong way. But it seems like this is becoming a Latin American thing. Do we think it's a language barrier, or is it something else? Because it seems
I think it's just because there's so many Latin players.
the percentages, because it just seems to be, even back, Melky Cabrera was one of the first guys to get hit with this band, if not the first guy. And it just seems like it's now we don't hear all the minor leaguers, of course, don't hit the news wire like the major leaguers do, or unless it's a big name in the minor leagues. But I was just thinking about that this week, and I even brought it up to some friends. It's curious why this is so. I don't. Well, I know it's relatively available in Latin America, but I don't know, what the issue is there.
Well, the thing is, and this, I never heard anything from him or his agent, nothing.
Right.
Because most of the time when these guys get caught, the first thing they say is, I didn't take anything, I wasn't trying.
Yeah.
I went to GNC and bought some seeds, right. and I got, and it's, or the trainer gave me something. They always have an excuse. This guy never came up with an excuse. He just accepted it and went on down the road.
Yeah, I wouldn't question.
Now the Phillies might have to do. They're balancing their bullpen a little bit for the closing role, but right now they don't need it. They're one of the hottest teams in baseball. The Dodgers, they're playing whack-a-mole with their pitching staff because they finally got Kershaw back and they're trying to get people worked out and all that. And I want to talk about the Dodgers a little bit later on in the show. I have a question. But Snell's still out, Glasgow's still out, Glasnow. Sasaki's out with a bad shoulder. So that's three of their starters right there. Trinan, the reliever, is out. Three relievers, Trinan, Phillips, and Yates, they're all on the IL.
And that's the bigger part. Like
their bullpen.
Yeah, if they got some guys, some extra starters to fill in, but when you were bullpen, they don't have that in the bullpen. So
well, Blake Baldwin, the rookie catcher for the Atlanta Braves, the way he's playing, he's hitting about 400. He's the favorite to win the Rookie of the Year in the National League. And in the American League, it might be Jacob Wilson of the A's.
Yeah. As of right now, but I still like my man Acuna with the Mets. Don't count him out. Of course, I'm biased, and I see him almost every day. This week I haven't. It's been a crazy week for me, but I still watch the highlights.
No, I saw the Mets. I saw him win last night. They beat the Dodgers last night.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Brett Beatty coming back, he decides now that he can see the ball or hit it. I don't know what's going on with him, but yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the day before they lost, so they lost.
Yeah, but at least it was a good game for way the highlights and everything.
Yeah. Well, Andrew Jones, the center fielder for the Atlanta Braves, who was one of the in his prime, he was the best center fielder in the game. And
I'll let you have it.
And right now, in his prime, the center fielder for the Atlanta Braves is the best center fielder in the game. They showed a highlight reel of him this morning.
Michael Harris.
In the past week, Michael Harris. Anyway, he's going to manage the Netherlands in the baseball classic coming up next season.
I think Yachty's going to manage again.
And this may come as a shock to everybody, but Verlander's back on the IL with a pectoral issue. So I don't know why he and Scherzer just don't hang him up.
Because they want that 300.
They're trying to get certain numbers in the book, and why turn down the money?
Right, they're going to keep paying you, and it's guaranteed.
And Washington suffering a little bit in the outfield. Dylan Cruz has gone on the IL.
Ooh, I did not know that.
Yeah, he's and he's just started hitting, and he has it's a left oblique. They called up two kids from the minor leagues, and one of them's got an arm like a cannon, and the other one can run like a deer. And both of them were instrumental in their win the other day. They won 7 out of 8 games after they lost 7 in a row. So they're doing a lot better. Of course, one of the biggest problems that's come up has to do with Bregman for the Red Sox. He's going down. And
I didn't know that because he played against the Mets. So I didn't
yeah. He's got he's got a right quad problem,
That's going to be a big miss because
and he's on the IL. He had the same problem in 2021 in his left quad and missed 56 games.
Oh, geez.
So, I mean, the only person probably happy with all this is Devers. He gets to go back to third. But anyway.
If he wants to, because he said he will not go. He's just DH.
Well, I mean, petulance is fine. But, I mean, if you want to act like a 5-year-old, go ahead. You don't care about the team. You just care about you. That's fine.
Yeah.
I deal with kids all the time in church,
right.
And I know, and let's face it, adults are just old kids. And
right.
So, but Devers is, hey, if the team asks you to do something, you do it.
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron Judge is a pretty good player. I think he's halfway decent. He moved to center field last year, so Soto could play right.
Right.
He didn't say, oh, my goodness, they're taking my position away. Never mind. Anyway, but Bregman's going to be out. But Devers is going crazy, too, with the bat.
Yes.
And let's see. Schwarber, he's at 18 home runs. He's hit. He's hitting about 20 out of 25 games. Acuna, he came back for the Braves, and he's hit a home run in each of his first 2 games since he's come back. And Jason Hayward, the old guy, has gone back on the IL for San Diego. And Ramon Laureano, the outfielder that the O's picked up in the offseason, he's going on the IL. The other thing I'd like to talk about is this. While we were away, the Rockies, the Pirates, and the Orioles all fired their managers. Now, I can understand firing managers. All of them have been around for a while with the teams, 5 years at least. Sometimes it gets stale. You want new blood in it. But in these 3 cases, you have to blame the front office for who they put on the field.
Right.
The manager can only manage who he has on the field. 2 years ago, the Oriole manager was the manager of the year in the American. The manager, and in 2 years, he got stupid.
Yeah, he didn't know what he was doing.
2 years, I don't know anything about baseball. Now, what really makes it bad is usually when they fire the manager, the next day, the general manager comes out or the owner and says why. If you're the Cowboys, it's the same thing, the owner and the general manager. This time, all 3 of them, they waited a few days. Now, I saw because I was watching NASA and they had the interview with the Oriole general manager. He admitted part of the problem was their fault. Then why'd you fire him? Last year, you and I are not general managers. We're not managers. We just watch the game and enjoy it. But both of us said, why aren't they going out and getting some pitching for the Orioles? Why? They could have traded San Diego.
And I will say it again. There's one out there you could have paid league minimum for 1 year.
They could have traded for somebody. They could
still do that.
And but they didn't do it. Then, we didn't trade for anybody, and we got 15 guys with Tommy John surgery. Well, let's just let Burns walk. We won't even try to sign him. We'll just let him walk. So he goes and signs with Arizona.
At a cheap, or not cheap, lower than what was expected. Yeah.
But now you're having problems. Your bullpen's not as good as it was last year. Your closer came back from Tommy John, and he's still trying to get in shape.
Right.
Every fastball he throws is 12 feet over the plate.
Yeah.
Of course, sometimes they're called strikes, but that's beside the point. Now, they're having all kinds of problems. The players love the manager. They love him. They love playing for him.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's appease the fan base by getting rid of the manager. So that's basically what they did. They tried to, because the attendance has dropped off to 0.
Right.
And now they're back to what they used to do.
Well, that
15,000 people at the ballpark for a game.
Yeah.
And and they fired the manager, and it's not he had no fault in this, none.
Yeah.
So
that's a fair weather fan base, to say the least. I've gone to games there where a lot of times the fan it depends on who they're playing, how many fans come out.
Well, that's true to a point in a lot of ballparks.
Right.
If you're a Nationals fan, you're going to draw more fans when the Dodgers and the Yankees play there.
Yeah.
Than when San Diego or maybe Kansas City plays.
Right.
But it is what it is, and I just, if you're going to fire the manager because you think it'll help the team, that's fine. But if you're going to fire the managers because you made mistakes,
right,
that's the wrong reason. So I had to get that off my chest.
I think Washington's more of
what?
Oh, okay.
Your light went out.
Yeah, I don't know what I hit something with my foot. I did it again.
Well, I can still hear you. I can still see you.
I'm hitting. It must be because of my. All right, we're good. I gotta figure out what I hit, but anyway, this will be good fun for trying to figure this out tonight. Like we were, I think Washington is more of a baseball town, and Baltimore is more of a football town.
Yeah, you're probably right. Well, when the Redskins were rolling, the Washington was a football town. But this here, I'm going to use an example. Nothing against the guy that the Orioles put in charge. They just threw him in there and said, "You got it. Do something with it." Yesterday's a prime example. They're playing a doubleheader against the Boston Red Sox. The game is tied. The winning run for Boston's on second base in the ninth inning. Devers is coming up to the plate. In the last week, he's hit like 600. I don't think Hyde would have pitched to him. I think Hyde would have put him on because his run means nothing. The lead runs on second. You put him on, pitch to the next guy. If he gets a hit, so be it. Hey, I did that. This guy had his pitcher pitch to Devers, so Devers gets a base hit up the middle, the game's over. If Hyde hadn't done, I mean, you brought this new guy in, you throw him to the Wolves, and he makes it, and that's just an egregious mistake. You don't pitch to the hottest guy in the game with the game on. You just don't.
Well, me and you both said too, it was weird. They named the third base coach as the head coach. Usually there's a couple of different coaches before you get to the third base coach.
It's usually the bench coach.
Bench coach and some
because the bench coach is usually an old manager.
Yeah. So I mean, he's got to know what he's doing. I mean, he's a manager in baseball. So he knows the game, but maybe somewhere along the line he might get overwhelmed. I mean, we saw his first press conference when he was talking, and he was not happy about the decision. I'm sure he wasn't not upset that he's the head coach, but he wasn't happy they got rid of his coach. His manager.
He liked Hyde like everybody else did.
Right. I mean, because that's who hired him. Because the manager hires his staff. So, it was it's a weird, always a weird situation. That's why I don't like doing it. I don't like in season doing that. It's but sometimes it's just it's necessary. Like we were talking Colorado. What's the use of firing your manager in Colorado? What does he want to do? Find another job during the middle of the summer? Is he managing a pool? What is?
Well, they're going to pay him. They'll be paying him till the end.
They got to pay him. I mean, I'm sure he's like, I ain't got to sit there and watch that mess, and I get paid. But what's the use of that? If you want to break away after the season, so be it. You're not going to get any better. You're going to make up 50 games.
Well, what they're trying to do is appease the fans. That's what they're doing. I
don't know how that appease the fans. They still suck. So
appease the fans by putting a halfway decent team on the field.
Right.
In the standings, the Yankees are leading Boston by 5.5 games. And Boston's at 500. So everybody in that East is at 500 or lower except the Yankees, and the Yankees are rolling. Yankees, if they stay healthy, they're coming out of the American League in the World Series. No question about it. My Texas, the team I picked, they're in free fall. Detroit's leading Cleveland by 3 games, but Cleveland's going in there and they're going to try to sweep Detroit in Detroit today. The good old Cleveland Guardians, who every year.
Well, that game, I already seen the score. It's over now. They played. Yeah, they played at like
11 o'clock or something.
Like that 11 o'clock Apple game or whatever it is.
Well, did Cleveland win?
Peacock, I can tell you real quick.
Okay, well, that's not important, but Cleveland is working their way up to the top again. They're back by 3 games. In Seattle, Houston is back 2.5 games to Seattle. And in the American League, they've got 1 team on 500 and 7 teams under 500.
Tigers won 5-0.
Okay, so they salvaged 1 game. The O's are 17-34. 2 years ago, 2 years ago, they made the playoffs, and now they're 17-34. I guess it's the manager's fault. Philadelphia is leading the Mets by 3 games. 2 weeks ago, the last time we did a show, the Mets were leading the division.
Well, the Mets, you want to talk about, they went and won 1 from the Yankees, but then Boston took 2 out of 3 from them.
And the Yankees won about 7 out of 8.
Yeah, so
because they swept Texas and then they went to Colorado and got beat, and then they won last night 13-1.
Right, so they're not playing very good. Right, they just stopped scoring runs. They hit the Yankees and they stopped scoring runs.
Right,
and they were already having. I mean, because we were talking when I was at home, Clayton Holmes throws two innings. They hit 2 home runs off, solo home runs. And well, no, that was against Boston that happened. But still, he gives up 2 runs and they lose. If I was the pitcher, I'd be standing there with a bat as they come in. Who am I taking this out on? Who's going to be the one? Because this is ridiculous. So the pitchers are doing their part. They're playing good defense, but they don't score runs.
Well, the other
weeks ago they were leading league in that stat that I love, scoring runs with 2 outs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the Cubs are leading the Cardinals by 2 games. The Cardinals have had a resurgence.
Yeah. Well, that's if Colorado wants to appease their fans, re-sign Arenado.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Dodgers are up on San Francisco by 2. Every team in that division. Like the American League East, they got 1 winning team, the Yankees. In the National League West, they've got 4 winning teams in the Rockies. So that, well, like we talked before, there's starting to be a little bit of separation in these leagues, but you never know. Somebody gets hurt, some team gets hot.
Yeah, it's still. I mean,
we're not even
after the All-Star break is when you start like, okay, how many weeks are left and how many games are you behind?
Yeah.
That's when you start counting the weeks and games because it's usually 1 week for every game you're back. So
now this is I've made up my mind. Both of us picked the Dodgers to come out of the National League. You picked Boston in the American League, and I picked Texas. Texas, they're just not playing ball. But I don't think the Dodgers are coming out of the National League. And this is why. The last time a team won back-to-back World Series was the Yankees way back in the early 2000s. The last time a National League team has won back-to-back World Series was the 1975 and 76 Big Red Machine Reds from Cincinnati. So since 1975 and 76, no National League teams won back-to-back. Now, I was like the old man walking down the old part of town. There's an old dreary building over there. But at Christmas time, there's a big picture of Santa Claus in the window, and they got lights and a tree on top of the building and lights all over it. It looks great. And then after Christmas, they take all that off, and then the building's ugly again. Well, that's what I did with the Dodgers. I looked at that lineup. I looked at all the names, and I said, I was blinded by the lights. I don't think they're going to repeat. They're not playing well enough. Last night, Ohtani, Freddie and Mookie Betts struck out 6 times. 6 times. Those 3 guys struck out 6 times. They're not hitting. Their bullpen's hurt. And I just don't think they're going to do it. I just don't think they're going to do it. So do you think you can think of a team maybe that will take their place if they don't do it? Now, I'm not saying they won't, because who knows, by the end in August, they might get everybody healthy. And
I mean, you can't the Padres.
Well, the Padres right now are in free fall.
Yeah, but I think they got enough to bounce back. If the Phillies keep playing the way they are,
see, that's
the Phillies. The Phillies, to me, and I'm just waiting for the gas tank to run empty because they've played so many games. Those pitchers have so many innings on their arms in the last 3 years. So I wait just for that gas tank to just go empty on them, and you can't fault them if that happens. That's why you don't see many back-to-back, because now there's so many playoff games to even get to the World Series. That's added games.
Yeah, you have a couple of bad games and you're out.
Right, but not only that.
Yes, Texas A&M softball team that lost to Liberty.
Right. It's just so many innings on a pitcher's arm, right? We want to talk about 9 innings and all this other stuff, but these guys throw 35 games in a year, and then you add on 10 more, 12 more into the playoffs, high intensity games. That's different. That's a different animal. And Nola's not young. Wheeler, but Wheeler's in his prime. Wheeler is just good. They got some other guys. Suarez can do it. I just, I think they are, and I've said I picked them 2 years in a row. I just couldn't do it 3 years in a row. And I do think they have the team and the way they're playing right now. But I'm just waiting for that gas tank to hit empty.
Yeah,
I really am. And I think that might be part of the problem with the Dodgers.
San Diego gives the Dodgers fits. And they could have won that playoff last year. But
and I'm telling you, if the Giants hang around, they have the money. They're the difference maker.
And they have the pitching.
They have the pitching. Logan Webb is a real deal nobody knows about.
I'll tell you, the team don't sleep on Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, Cubs, another team.
I mean, I like Philadelphia right now, but I don't sleep on the Cubs. The Cubs they put together a real good team, and they have one of the best managers in baseball, in Craig Counsell.
Right.
So that team, if they can hold together and don't have too many injuries, they might be the team to do it. But I just don't. The way the Dodgers are playing now, I just don't see it. I mean, but here again, they get everybody back. They get Snell, Glasnow, the relievers back, and all that, and they go into August and September, and they're healthy. When they get to October, they're going to be tough to beat in the series.
And you always got. If we haven't learned anything, you just got to talk about Arizona, right? A team that gets hot at the right time. I've been saying it since the beginning of adding all these playoff teams. Just get in the playoffs. Just get in the playoffs. They play the games.
Well, people forget.
2 pitchers, huh?
The Colorado Rockies did make it to a World Series.
Right. Yes. Just get into the playoffs, and the whole dynamic of how you play changes. It's no longer a 5-man rotation. It is a 5-man rotation, but it's totally, totally different. It's a different way of playing baseball. It's a different attitude about it, a different way of looking at things. You need 2 pitchers. A third one really puts you ahead of the game, and a strong, strong bullpen. The Royals taught us that. The Diamondbacks taught us just get into the series, get into the playoffs, and make things happen. You just got to get hot. Your hitters get hot. The Diamondbacks, I think, their one problem, losing their first baseman, Christian Walker, is their leadership, the veteran leadership is not there. I don't think Naylor is grown up enough yet to be that guy or anybody else on that team. But, man, they got raw talent. They got some pitching. they can get it together. I'd be worried about them too. But if they get in the playoffs, they're going to be right back to the way they were. And again, they got team speed. I love team speed. Team speed never goes on. He never goes in a slump.
Yes. Speed doesn't go in a slump, and it's just like in other sports like football and basketball, defense travels.
Yeah.
If you can play good defense, you can play good defense on the road.
Yeah, and baseball is like any other sport. When the playoffs come around, I mean, look at basketball. All of a sudden, everybody's playing defense, and it's a whole different monster. It's the 160 teams that are built for the season have issues in the playoffs. Look at the Atlanta Braves when they dominated the 90s and the early 2000s. They were built for the regular season, and they just didn't have the makeup for the playoffs. There's other teams that are built better for the playoffs, and some pitchers thrive. Bumgarner and Kershaw's the opposite. There's just guys that thrive during that time. But yeah, I was with you with the Dodgers, but to me, it wasn't the bright lights. It's just the depth that they have. They have so many. I mean, they got like 12 starting pitchers in their 40-man roster. So it's like major league pitchers, not just pitchers. They're major league pitchers. So that's and then that front 5 or 6 it's hard to compare unless you're looking at the Yankees lineup. It's just very that team is just built well, but that's why we play the games, and that's why we talk. It's fun talking about.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If I had to pick one team, it'd probably be Philadelphia, but I'm not going to sleep on the Cubs.
Yeah, Philly, Cubs. I think the National League is top heavy, right? Where they have 4 or 5 teams at the top, and everybody else drops off kind of fast. Where the American League has like one really good team, and then everybody else is the same. I mean, that's the difference. But again, just get into the playoffs, and everything changes. So they can ask the Yankees look like they've been the best before to get in the playoffs, and they don't look that.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry, they have trouble with good pitching still. The Mets.
Yeah, you're right. And the Yankees also have they've been fortunate in that Max Fried and Rodon are pitching like Cy Young winners, and they're making up for losing their ace.
Right.
So that they're pitching like Cy Young winners. They have a decent bullpen, and Judge.
Yes.
That's about it.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, and also that we watched them. They got a balanced lineup, heavy lefties that they built a team for their field, and that's the smart thing to do. That's what you do, and I mean, but I watched them have trouble against good pitching, so I don't think I'm not as a believer in them as you are, but I do think right now they're the best team in the American League by far.
Well, it's not that I'm such a big believer in the Yankees. I'm looking around that league, and who else is close?
Right.
That's my point. Right. Detroit has a great record. The best record in baseball right now is Philadelphia. They got the best record.
Right.
The Tigers had it for a while, but not Philadelphia has. Right. But Detroit has had the best record in the American League for a while. Right. And now they've lost some games, and I think the Yankees have passed them. But the Central Division.
And here we are talking about the Central Division. There you got 3 teams that are very good, and
they're going to knock each other off all year long.
Well, they'll all 3 make the playoffs. The way the setup is.
Well, not only that, but the Central Division in the American League cannot beat the Yankees.
Right, and that's my
none of them. And that Central Division can beat the Yankees in a playoff. They can't.
And the Twins have been trying.
The Twins have won one series from the Yankees in like 75 years, I think.
Right.
It's just ridiculous.
I think Harmon Killebrew was.
Yeah, Harmon Killebrew and Steve Pascal was a pitcher.
Yeah.
But it's it is what it is. I am just it's intriguing to watch these games though, because even a team like the White Sox will have a good game like they did yesterday and come out and be smoking the ball all over the place.
Right.
They got some good young players on that White Sox.
And I keep hearing Robert's name coming up in trade talk, so it's interesting. That's see what they're going to do. I will be attending a White Sox game this summer at Chicago, so I already got my tickets. $36, and you can sit in the first 10 rows of the field of one of the games. That's all. $36, and I'm on row 9 on the third base side. So that tells you right there how good they're doing. But there'll be a lot of people there because it's going to be me and 100,000 of my closest friends in Chicago that weekend. So, but anyway, last few weeks we've been gone. It's been fun watching, keeping up with stuff. It's just we're getting into the grind of the season. This is where we start seeing where the cream. That's why we keep talking about the Yankees and how good they are, because they just keep rolling. Well, other teams drop some, gain some, drop some, gains. Nobody has really just shown their dominance yet. I'm still believing in the Red Sox. They're 500. I'm still, I'm a believer in some other teams that I'm not fully throwing Milwaukee out. I just don't because their lineage. And the Cardinals playing pretty good is kind of scary too. That's one of those organizations that just knows how to do things right.
Well, you talk about a baseball city, St. Louis.
That's baseball. Yeah, they love their baseball there. So I'm not happy for them because I do not like them, but I'm happy for the city for being such a good baseball town. So, anything else for us, Pop?
Well, my yogiism for the day is he said if I didn't wake up, I'd still be sleeping. And what he meant, and here again, this is his logic. I always add his logic. He forgot to set his alarm, and he had an appointment.
Right.
Luckily, he woke up in time.
Right.
So he didn't miss the appointment.
Right.
So that was his explanation.
Right.
If I didn't wake up, I'd still be sleeping.
Yep.
Because the alarm wasn't set. He didn't put that on the end. So
well, we're going to leave y'all with that today, and I hope everybody's enjoying their Memorial Day weekend, staying safe out there.
Yeah, this is an important weekend for remembering all those people who died serving this country. This is not about celebrating the servicemen and women, which we should every day, who are serving us now or were in the military, but these are the people that didn't make it back.
Yeah, and that's why all the flags will be out at the cemeteries and everything this weekend. And I just want everybody to be safe out there, and we'll see you next time. So please like, subscribe, and do all that fun stuff. And it's good to be back talking baseball. And until next time, see ya.